99.9 The Fan.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Tired of wandering the aisles of those big box stores, struggling to find the help you need? At Home Outlet, we do things differently. First, we guarantee the lowest price on kitchens, baths, floors, and more. Find it cheaper somewhere else, we'll beat it by 10%. Second, we're employee owned. Yep, the folks helping you design your dream kitchen actually own the place. You're not just another customer to us, you're the customer. So why deal with the other stores? Break up with the big box and upgrade to Home Outlet. Find a location near you at homeoutlet.com.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen. The average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
If you see a student being bullied, be supportive. Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You'll be an ally and you can make a friend. Friendship! Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com and join Cartoon Network to redraw your world without bullying.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Styles now pulls up at the left elbow. He throws it in and the foul on Maestrovich. And it's back-to-back Dontrez Styles buckets at 10:23 to play. 54-40, Styles to the line. Pack down 11. Into the lane goes Hill. Pumps the brakes. Kick left side. Styles flicks the wrist for three. He's hot. 11 second half points. 57-49. Dontrez Styles out of halftime has scored 11.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Hi, everyone. It is the Adam Gold Show. I think I just said that. Victoria's here. It's hard for Whalers night.
I was just about to say it's Whalers night.
So we're going to do all 80s and 90s music today.
Yes, we are.
Although, R.I.P. to Gene Hackman.
I know. What was it, 95?
95 years old. There's some weird circumstances, I think, surrounding his passing. He died in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I don't know if that's where he lived or not. I really don't. One of my all-time favorite actors, though. And but he passed away. His wife passed away, and apparently his dog. They found all three
Yeah.
Oh, all three of them passed away?
Yeah. All that all happened apparently yesterday. They found them yesterday. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, Gene Hackman, for a lot of people who listen to this show, they think of Gene Hackman as Norman Dale from Hoosiers. The coach of Hickory High, all of that. And it is one of my favorite Gene Hackman roles. It is not my favorite Gene Hackman role, but it is one of my 5. And I posted that on, I think it was Twitter. So I put my 5 favorite Gene Hackman roles up there on Twitter. Feel free to go crazy. What was number 5 was, I think, the defense secretary in No Way Out.
Oh.
Did you see the movie No Way Out?
No.
For a lot of people, this was the first that we saw Kevin Costner.
Whoa.
Yeah. Kevin Costner
Is that
played...
the one where you play dead?
No. That was in The Big Chill, right?
Okay.
He was the corpse in The Big Chill, Kevin Costner.
Yes.
We didn't... Who knew? who knew? He played the defense secretary in No Way Out. He played... there's so many great Gene Hackman roles. I loved him. Like, honestly, the Popeye Doyle and French Connection is the best.
Mm.
Also, the greatest car chase that actually seems like, well, this car chase could happen. Because most car chases in movies now, that's impossible. But this car chase, which took place in the scene in New York City, was all underneath the it's not a subway at this point, but when the trains go above ground in like Queens and Brooklyn, that's where it took place. It was a phenomenal car chase. But that's my favorite Gene Hackman role. And on the low, the senator, father of the bride from The Birdcage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
To me, that's the best Gene Hackman.
Well, there was
those two right there.
There was another staple for people in my generation. She passed away. Harriet the Spy passed away yesterday. She's 39. Michelle Trachtenberg or something like that. Yeah, she was in Gossip Girl. I didn't see her in any of that stuff, but yeah, she was in Harriet the Spy.
Did not know.
I loved that movie growing up, but yeah.
And Hackman was, of course, Lex Luthor from the Superman movies.
Oh, yes.
So that was on my list. I put my list of 5 up there. We're just trying to delay talking about NC State.
I know. Can we do that? Woof. Oh, man. The Wolf Pack.
Oh. Woof, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the Wolf Pack.
So, okay, let's go.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started.
I mean, the lights are out.
It's donezo.
So, is it mathematical? No, it is not mathematical. There is still a path to Charlotte for NC State basketball. But it pretty much involves one of two things. Winning all 3 of your remaining games, which is not impossible. Because it isn't. That's not an impossibility.
Right.
The games that they have remaining, albeit 2 of the 3 are on the road, they're all winnable games because they're not playing any really good teams. The most difficult team that they will play is Pitt. Pitt is a mess, and that game is in Raleigh. But I'm not sure why anybody would assume that this NC State team is going to win all 3 of those games. So let's say, man, best case scenario, they win 2. So here's what has to happen for NC State to make it to the ACC tournament by winning 2 of their remaining 3 games. Remember, last night's game had to be a win. It was not. And we're going to get to the game. If NC State wins twice, Cal needs to win 0 times because you've gotten swept by the Bears. Notre Dame needs to win 0 times because if you tie, you have to tie Notre Dame because that's the only team with whom you have the tiebreaker because you beat Notre Dame. But they're on 6 wins right now, and State's on 4. Notre Dame finishes the season with Cal. and Stanford in South Bend the last week. So either Cal or Notre Dame is going to get a win. So, yeah, no good.
It's not looking good at all.
No good. So you got to win 3. And this team just doesn't seem capable. All right, to last night. And we're going to hear from Kevin Keats in a minute on the game. To me, it was a team that looked like it really didn't know what it was doing. That's what it just looked like. We got a bunch of good players. We might not have any great players. We got a bunch of good players, and we're just going out and we're playing.
Yeah, we're just there.
I mean, we're playing. We're running up and down the court, and we're like, it wasn't a lack of energy or anything like that. They just didn't look like they really had an idea.
No, shots weren't going in.
Well, they had, first of all, they fell behind by a lot.
A lot.
Right? It was what did I see? It was 28-13, 28-14. Like before we had youth soccer practice. I'm following the game, listening to it, following the score. I get home, like, oh, really? Mm-hmm. Why are we doing this? Syracuse isn't that good, but they were last night. Anyway, but I thought, man, if they could just stick around, and it looked like they were doing that. So I think Styles got into a little bit of a rhythm in the second half. They cut the lead to 8, right? Forget exactly what the score was. It was like 57-49, something in that range with about 10 minutes to go. They cut it to 8, and I'm thinking, hey, here's the run. Put a little pressure on Syracuse because, I've been fooled by this Wolfpack team all year, I guess, that I think that they're better than they really are. And then there was a steal. Mm-hmm. Trey Parker had the steal, and Trey Parker took the 3, which I don't hate. It was a good look. He's not a terrible three-point shooter. It is indicative, I think, of some guys that were trying to maybe be the hero. But I don't think it was a bad shot. He missed it. When they missed that shot in transition, because it came off a live ball turnover. When he missed that shot and they didn't get the rebound, I think the game fell apart for them after that. And that was, to me, the unfortunate part because it looked like Syracuse was providing them a window to kind of get back into it.
Yeah, and they're like, no, we'll just close it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Anyway, they were able to get to the offensive glass, even though they were kind of bullied by Syracuse. And Kevin Keats on, essentially, this is what led to a Syracuse win from his perspective.
You know, it was one of those nights where we just we could not make a shot. And obviously we got off to a really terrible start because our shots weren't falling. But at the end of the day, you know, the game comes down to toughness. I just thought they were completely tougher than us. When you look at it, you know, you look at Davis, you look at Lampkin, they really just bullied us. You know, the numbers that they have are 15-7 and 14 points and 15 rebounds. We gave up 46 points in the paint. We played hard at the end and tried to make it interesting, but we dug ourselves in such a bad hole because obviously we didn't play well offensively to start the game, and then obviously I just thought they pounded us inside, and we tried different things. We tried to go big, but we were in complete foul trouble. And give those guys credit. That's something that we were able to do last year with Mo Diarra and DJ Burns, and kind of turned around on us tonight.
Yeah, it was a little bit of their own medicine from a year ago. Remember the second half of last year when Mo Diarra kicked in, and you still had Ben Middlebrooks and DJ Burns. There were good chunks of the season last year where DJ Burns really didn't have a leading role, where it was other guys stepping forward. So that's the sad part for this season for me. And again, they got to win 3. The sad part about this season is that I know there's no go-to scorer. I get it. But there were enough good players where you should have been able to mix and match and allow the players' performance during games to dictate, all right, you played. You played well. Let's keep going. And those kinds of situations, sometimes it doesn't lead to, you may never be great because you don't have great players. But if you have a lot of good players, you can certainly piece it together. And I keep looking at this ACC, and I am baffled that the Wolfpack will not get into the top 15 in this league. This year, that is a tremendous miss for this team. Not going to the ACC tournament. And again, the bigger picture for a lot of Wolfpack fans and a lot of people who have followed the ACC for a long time, this is the first year we have ever had a cut to see who makes the ACC tournament. The conference has been a thing since the early 50s. This is the first time you've had to qualify for the league's, I mean, it's the premier conference basketball tournament in the country. And it's like the Rose Bowl to football. That's what the ACC tournament is to college basketball. And the school that is as responsible for the birth of the league as any, NC State, is going to miss the cut. That is
so bad.
Stunning to me.
Yeah.
But
especially after last year. Like, that makes it even, it would still be bad regardless, but after last year, it's like, come on.
Right, because it's the other end of the spectrum is what it is. Well, sort of the other end of the spectrum. I don't think anybody expected this NC State team to be like NCAA tournament good. I really don't. I mean, anything is possible if you get confidence, and confidence is, I don't know what percentage it is in any sport. It's, I think, more than people give it credit, because I think confidence allows you to do a lot of things quicker. We can talk about a lack of confidence and how it slows you down, and right now I think that is what's plaguing the Carolina Hurricanes. But if you get confidence, even if you're not ultimately that good, it just makes you better. And State never established it this year because they didn't win enough to really to give themselves to kind of create that level of confidence. And last year, a team that wasn't that good made the Final Four. Because what you were over the first 31 games of that season last year, 17-14, ended up in the Final Four. You were good enough to be like a middle NIT team. That's what NC State was. And then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Michael O'Connell banks in a three. They beat Virginia in overtime. Actually, the comeback against Louisville the day before in the first day of the ACC tournament was maybe not quite as remarkable, but also, I mean, if you don't come back and win that game, there's no next day. It was just wild that came together. And it's not about we couldn't capitalize on a Final Four run. It's just the contrast from something that was so improbable, so fun, right? Because it was fun. Is it like I'm telling you, because I was in, where were we last year? We were Arizona? We were in Arizona for the Final Four. So I was there, and I saw the sea of Wolfpack fans. They took over. They absolutely took over the Final Four. And Purdue fans were pretty present as well. And it was so much fun to watch them have so much fun. And maybe this is the price that they're paying. Because this year, the season ends next Saturday.
Yep, done.
Like, there's no ACC tournament to, well, you never know.
No,
The season ends
Stick a
next
fork
Saturday.
in
It is
done.
Unbelievable. Speaking of the season ends, hey, will Wake Forest win the NIT? Like, no joke. It's clear that Wake Forest doesn't want to make the NCAA tournament. The funny thing for me about Steve Forbes' team this year was however many years he has been at Wake, they have been a very good offensive team and a very poor defensive team, in my opinion. This year, it flipped. They weren't very good offensively, and they got better, but they were primarily a defensive team. And last night, they decided, you know what? We liked it the way it was. We liked being an offensive team and not a defensive team, so we're going to forget to play defense and try to outscore our problems, and they turned Virginia into a good team last night. That's hard to do because they're not good.
No.
They've got one good player. McNeely is a great shooter, and they just allowed him to do whatever he wanted. I was blown away by how Wake Forest decided, not really. Not feeling it. And I feel for Steve Forbes because I thought that the top 6 or maybe 7 players for them could be good enough to get an NCAA tournament spot. And I'm still blown away. And I have not seen whether or not Lenardi or Palm or any of the bracketologists, which we probably spend too much time focusing on, whether they still have Wake in their field if they've done another one. But Lenardi did yesterday. Wake was the last team in, and I keep thinking, why? Why? What have they done to make you think that they belong in the NCAA tournament? And the answer really is not much.
No, it's probably changed now.
Well, again, I don't know because they still have to fill out the field. But a home loss to a team that isn't going to any tournament should be an automatic eliminator. Look, if you're Wake Forest, you wanted to make the NCAA tournament, and I realize I just said I've always thought NC State was better than they had performed all year. Like, if Wake wanted to be in, they would have beaten State. I expected them to beat Virginia, but I was texting back and forth with our friend Nada the Scribe, yesterday, and I'm like, I don't care what the result is of this game. They're not an NCAA tournament team. They don't belong in that field. Give me a team that went 5-15 or 5-13 in the SEC because they play 18. I think they play an 18-game conference schedule. Give me a 5-win SEC team because they're all better than Wake Forest. Every single one of them is better than Wake Forest. Put the best teams in the field. I don't know why Wake couldn't figure it out all year long, but that was an embarrassing defensive performance last night, and they don't belong in the NCAA tournament. And I don't know if the ACC is going to get 3 teams in. That's what they're going to get. Again, the 4th team might be North Carolina. And I'm holding out hope for that because I do think that if Carolina had played a slightly more Wake-like non-conference schedule, I'm not criticizing it. Carolina's non-conference schedule was crazy good.
Yes, very different.
So if they had played a more Wake-like non-conference schedule and didn't take on so many losses to teams that will be 1 seeds or 2 seeds or 3 seeds, then I believe that they would have a better record and be in the NCAA tournament picture. So I still think UNC can sneak their way into the back end of the at-large pool without a win over Duke. But my gosh, Wake Forest, please. All right, real quick. We have Canes and Sabres tonight. Erik Cole's going to join us in about 10 minutes. We'll get his take on what he thinks might be plaguing this team right now. But I talk about confidence, because I think it matters so much, especially in sports that are free-flowing. But I think it matters in all sports. Anybody that has ever played a game, you know what it feels like when you're playing well. Even a recreational player. Let me talk to the recreational golfer or the tennis player. I have never played pickleball. I assume it's the same. Or if you play pickup basketball at the gym, you just know that there are days when, hey, I'm not bad today. Granted, I'm not putting you in the professional level. I am just saying there are days where I'm not bad. I can help these 4 other out-of-shape people win a basketball game.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Get a putt-putt trophy.
You can do that.
Nailing it.
So you play better because I'm not playing badly. Let's go. So you're not thinking about things. And I think professional athletes deal with this too. I've said this I don't know how many times. Confidence allows you the freedom to just play. And at the NHL level, at any professional sports level, every single player who plays is great. Great. Nobody sucks. They're all great. And when they feel good about the things that they're doing and they can just do it, they play better. The Hurricanes are searching for that feeling. I don't know how it comes back. I don't. Because the opposite is also true with confidence. A lack of confidence can take the best players and just slow them down enough. So whether it's, and I'm not suggesting that Mikko Rantanen lacks confidence or that Sebastian Aho lacks confidence, but it's clearly they realize right now that they're not at the top of their game. So they're thinking about, what do I do here? And when you are not confident, it slows you down enough where it takes away the instincts. So if the Hurricanes can get some confidence, sometimes you have no idea where it's going to come from. Maybe it's a lucky bounce. Maybe it's a power play goal. Maybe it's, a shot that goes off the butt cheek of Jordan Stallin in.
We'll take it.
Anything.
Right.
If something good can happen, it can flip. And that's where we'll jump off. Erik Cole is going to join us. I don't know that he's ever scored a goal with his butt cheek. I'm sure he has. He's been in front of the net enough. We'll get his take on what might be plaguing the Canes right now. What he's thought about Mikko Rantanen since his arrival, about a month ago, right? Just before the turn of February, we had 6 games where he played, 7 games on the roster. It's been 9 games on the roster. The Hurricanes have won 3, one of which he didn't play in. We'll talk to Erik Cole next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keats and state basketball have to do something, and I'll tell you what that is. They have to acknowledge what is happening. This season, it's a failure. That's not to say each individual player isn't working harder. There's no likable people in the program. It's just that after last season, this season, it's not enough. And you have to figure out how to fix it for next season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-292-7788. 800-292-7788.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Running a business is tough. There are platforms to juggle, channels to grow, and connections to build. Success is not solo. It's built in your community, through every connection and every customer. And we're here to help you thrive, faster, smarter, and stronger. With tools that simplify the chaos, data that delivers real insights, and expertise built for businesses like yours, we're ready for the challenge. Visit successeslocal.com today to start your free trial. That's successeslocal.com. Let's conquer local together.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like you know to check you have gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse. No, you are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion. But you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Hartford Whalers against the Buffalo Sabres tonight. It is an old Adams Division clash. Erik Cole, who might have been a fan of the old Adams Division back in the day, as a young lad growing up in central New York State, he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Hurricanes legend. Who I'm told by Erik has his beard already back. I did not recognize you at Erik Stahl's jersey retirement weekend because you had shaved your beard.
Well, yeah, you got to change it up every now and again and keep everyone guessing. So that was now you spilled the beans that I'm sporting the beard again. I don't know what you're doing.
I apologize. I didn't realize it was supposed to be kept secret.
I'm gonna have to shave it again.
Then I won't recognize you. You're only hurting me here. So that's probably fair. All right, let's. I want to dig into this team because I talk a lot about. I believe very much in the psychology of sports and allowing performance and being a deterrent at times to performance. What do you think Mikko Rantanen has been dealing with? I mean, you've been traded. I don't think it's been as out of nowhere as this. What do you think Mikko has been dealing with, really on a personal level, in terms of being traded from Colorado to Raleigh?
Well, I did experience an in-season trade that was it kind of came out of the blue. I did get a little bit of a fair warning about it from a former teammate in Ray Whitney, but when I got traded to Dallas from Montreal, it was we had come out of the lockout, and it was the shortened season. We went to 50-50 with the owners,
right?
So the cap was coming down, all this stuff, and so when I got traded to Dallas, like Ray was like, come, like it's great city, all this, and I think it was when I think I got asked 2 days later by our GM Mark Bergevin at the time to say, like, hey, are you willing to waive your no trade to go to Dallas, because they weren't on my list. I had some control over where I went. And, I debated it for a bit and everything, but if you look back at that season, and I was there, got to make a few trips back to Montreal, so I obviously went there by myself. And, at first I'm living in a hotel, then you're, living in an apartment. And if you've got kids, you don't want to uproot them in, February. So it was difficult, and I did struggle. But even I can remember getting traded to Edmonton, and that happened in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a big adjustment to go from having played all of your games with one organization to another, right? And just everything feels different. Everything seems different. In actuality, it really isn't. But it just, you're just really shaken away from your comfort zone. Another example is my second full season, the start of my second, quote unquote full season in Dallas. They signed Jason Spezza from Ottawa, and Alish Hemsky, who also was a trade deadline from Edmonton to Ottawa, but two guys that had spent their entire careers in either Ottawa or Hemmer, for instance, was, in Edmonton for the longest time. And they came to Dallas, and we got matched up together on a line, and those two struggled mightily in the first month and a half. I did the same when I went to Edmonton. I struggled early on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a different feel. But when you spend so much time in one city with one organization, and with, he was part of the core.
Yeah.
So that's he and a group of players playing together for a number of years with, some moving parts coming in and out here and there over the years. It is difficult. So I do have, some empathy for him in terms of the adjustment. And then on top of that, it's, the minutes aren't the same. Situations that you're playing in aren't exactly the same.
Right.
There's a lot to take in with it. So there does need to be a grace period, I think, on a bunch of levels. But with that being said, time is of the essence a little bit. And the team just needs to, they need to have honest conversations with the player and with his agent, and hey, do you think that this is going to be a good fit for you? You'll adjust to it, or if not, what can we do? How can we make things better?
Erik Cole is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. We know the system that Colorado plays and the system that the Hurricanes play are not the same. How hard of an adjustment should it be for a player of Mikko Rantanen's level to adjust to a different system?
I venture to say that it's not even so much to say he's adjusting to a different system. It's he's actually playing where there is a system. And I think especially in Colorado with their top players, their top guys all play well over 20 minutes.
Yes.
That isn't like the norm here. The norm here is a lot more balanced, and the depth of the team is part of the strength. And so when you go from playing less minutes, you're maybe not being in certain situations right away, and some of that is the coach knows who you are as a player, but he guys have already kind of established where they are, within this team or through this season, and it's going to take some time to figure out who fits in where the best, like what's best for everybody. It's not just what's best for one player, and it's just it's going to be an adjustment. I mean, would I be concerned with him learning a system or learning how to play in the Hurricane system? No, not at all. He's an intelligent hockey player. It's a different feel.
Have you noticed, and this could be people like me imagining things because it's obviously not gone well offensively. The Hurricanes, in games that he has played, in the 8 games he's played, the Hurricanes have scored just 15 goals. So that's obviously not good. But have you noticed maybe his teammates trying to, I don't know, like remember the All-Star game where they kept feeding Jeff Skinner the puck, trying to get Skinner a goal? Have you noticed maybe the team changing the way they play to kind of help out Mikko, or are people like me imagining it because I allow for that?
Well, I mean, it's not uncommon for that to happen, especially, a player with his resume coming into the team, and, no matter who he's playing with, you're going to feel some urgency to get him the puck. I used to feel like that every time I got put on Ronnie's line. I'd be like, and I'd be nervous, coming back to the bench because I didn't give Jeff O'Neill a pass right where he wanted it, and he wasn't shy about letting me know it. You know what I mean? So there are little things like that where, yeah, maybe they're forcing the issue a little bit to him, trying, but when you really look at where he's been playing and who he's been playing with, he's been playing with Nathan MacKinnon, who's one of the best in the world,
right,
in my opinion, and has been for a long time, and so he's got to find chemistry with obviously both of his line mates, but we always kind of said you need at least 2 guys that are really in sync, and
right,
and then you can kind of slot whoever else in, and you can have some moving parts.
Yeah, it's not about trios. It's really about pairs, right? On forward lines.
It kind of is. Just, and with the way injuries come and go and things like that, like it kind of has to be that way where or if you just things get a little stale, you want to mix it up a little bit and you give a little different look, or you put a bigger body on the ice that skates fast and hits hard, which in today's game it's just obviously a lot more skill and skating than the physicality, but I think he's still in my opinion what needs to be considered the grace period of trying to adjust and be able to take a deep breath and get comfortable, and I think he's still kind of going through it, and it just it happens to be in the dog days of the season, and after a 4 nations tournament that took the place of the All-Star weekend. So it's a little adjustment for everybody, really. This kind of different setup and everything. It's it's like an Olympic year, but not quite an Olympic year, and you know what I mean. Like it's just different, and I think if you look at the teams that were had a good rhythm going into the break, I think a lot of them have kind of stumbled a little bit, maybe not in the wins and losses, but just performance-wise,
Yeah.
I would say that nobody really feels like they're playing really good hockey right now. Like, or they've got better.
Erik Cole, a Stanley Cup champ. Real quick before I let you go, because the other part of this is Sebastian Aho, who I know he's hard on himself because he has a high standard for the way he plays. And I almost feel like he has really been wearing the burden of making life easier on Rantanen. How much of, I mean, if Aho is playing better, don't you think Mikko plays better?
I think that there's always, I always say this there's this phrase I use quite frequently that Sean Hill taught me a long time ago, is mind your own bobber. Yeah. And sometimes you just, there's always enough in your game, your own game, to worry about or to pay attention to, that, you should never be, carrying somebody else's, struggles,
right.
On your shoulders. I mean, it's hard enough out there. So, I mean, whether that's the case or not, or maybe, Sebastian just is kind of taking that on a little bit, having, he's a, fellow countryman and everything. It could possibly be a situation where, he's trying really, really hard to, to make this work and to, help Mikko, become a lot more comfortable here.
Right.
At the same time, like it certainly can influence or affect, your own play.
I mean, it just seems to me like everybody's trying to impress the pretty girl, rather than just be yourself and let the pretty girl just know who you are. Like
I don't understand that analogy.
Neither do
what
I.
Are you talking about?
It never worked for me. It never worked for me, and they should stop trying it. Erik Cole, bearded or not, one of my all-timers. Thank you so much, sir. I will see you and talk to you soon.
Sounds good, bud. Anytime.
I got it, man. Take care. Erik Cole, the Adam Gold Show. I didn't realize he was trying to keep it secret that he had shaved and then grown it back.
I warned him about you asking about butt shots, but he didn't.
Okay. No,
so.
I didn't. I don't recall. See, here's the thing. I have said this about Andrei Svechnikov. I want Andrei to play like Cole did. If Andrei Svechnikov could just watch, this is no joke. I'm not blowing smoke up anybody. If Andrei Svechnikov watched Erik Cole highlight tapes and just played like that, Andrei would be way better.
Yes.
Way better. We don't need anything fancy. I'm not saying that Erik didn't have a high level of skill. He did. But just direct. Mm-hmm. Just be fast. Be mean at times. Cole could be mean.
Hey,
use your body. You're 6'2", 6'3", 200. Use it.
It's aggressive sport.
Just be the power forward and cause chaos.
Mm-hmm. Hey, hashtag. You didn't even mean to do that, did you?
I didn't. Well, that's the old one.
I know, but
right?
It's still relevant.
Now we're raising up. Maybe we should go back to cause
I know, we
chaos.
need to go back to causing chaos.
It's interesting. I did kind of subconsciously bring that out. Oops. All right. We'll do one-timers. Andrei scored off a one-timer 2 games ago in Toronto. Maybe we can get another one of those tonight. One-timers next.
From the heels,
Touchdown, Carolina.
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we are exiting the shortest month of the year for March. And you know what that means. College basketball. And right now, new customers on FanDuel can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's right, $150 of their money to use as you see fit, as long as you win your first $5 bet. Time for you new customers to join in. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com
FanDuel.com/AGS. Get in on all the college hoops action before March takes over. FanDuel, 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
During the sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
A crisis moment is any moment where you feel overwhelmed and as if you aren't able alone to handle what's happening. You don't have to be alone with that feeling. And when that feeling comes is exactly when you should reach out, you should get connected, and you should be in community. We care, we listen, we help. Call, text, or chat 988 anytime.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Brett Friedlander next hour. When we had Connor O'Neill on yesterday and Connor brought up the idea of flex scheduling.
Yes.
And I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk about it more. You know, Connor's a busy man. So we're going to talk about it with Brett Friedlander because I think we can do this in both basketball and football. There's actually... even the ACC has floated the notion of doing something a little odd at the end of the season, and maybe we should do that. Real quick to my list of Gene Hackman movies, Dog Dad points out that Hackman was in Unforgiven.
Oh,
yes. That kind of modern Western, right? And I believe he has 2 Academy Awards, and I believe he was Best Supporting Actor in that. I could be wrong there, but he was at least nominated. And here's my problem. Hackman was great in that movie. I hated that movie.
Did you?
Yeah, I actually call Unforgiven unforgivable. I thought that there are certain movies that to me tried too hard.
Oh yeah.
Like the movie Heat, with which had De Niro and Pacino in it. I thought that movie tried too hard. Way too hard.
So yeah, I'd have to see it to be able to tell you.
That's true.
I have no
Hard
idea.
to have an opinion. And I don't see a ton of movies. So, but the one I have opinions about the ones I've seen. I thought Unforgiven was, hating it is not the right word. It was good. It wasn't
a strong
nearly.
dislike.
It wasn't nearly as good as it should have been. And I think the same thing about Heat. And I thought both movies tried too hard.
Yeah.
I have other hot takes on movies, but we'll get to those at another time. Let's one-timer.
Okay, so.
By the way, The Departed.
Oh.
I have hot takes on that.
Oh. We'll have to have a segment on Hackman movies. Oh.
Well, he wasn't in that one.
Oh, okay. So this one came from our YouTube stream. Steve, when we were talking about NC State and that performance.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
He wanted to ask, is there a way to adjust the tournament so all teams can be in the tourney?
Well, 18 teams, it's kind of hard to do that in a week. So what I think probably should be addressed is I think every team should have the chance. One of the things about college basketball is that I know that there are people who think that we should expand the NCAA tournament. I don't. Or who think that every team should be in. I don't. But they all are. Because every conference that has a tournament sends their conference tournament champion automatically to the NCAA tournament. So I do think that at the end of this regular season, every team should have a chance in that way. Now, how does the ACC accomplish that with an 18-team league? Big Ten is in the exact same spot. Big Ten isn't going to send everybody to their conference tournament this year. And I think the way to do that is to simply have what amounts to play-in games. So the bottom however many, all the way to the last team, play for the right to advance. So in this case, if we're only going to... Now, 15 is a dumb number. I don't know why it wasn't 16, because that would have made more sense. But if you do 16 teams, then you could do 18 plays at 15, 17 plays at 16. Winners go, losers don't. But at least you've had a chance. So that's the way I think the ACC tournament should ultimately go. But honestly, all these teams are bad.
Well, moving on to our Carolina Hurricanes, who hopefully won't be bad tonight for Whalers night, hockey night in Carolina. We haven't been able to say that in a long time. Someone wanted to ask, Blake Aho Rantanen has been a very effective line for Rantanen. So do you think Rod will go back to that?
I just responded to somebody on Twitter who's excited to see the lines came out from the morning skate, and Andrei Svechnikov was skating on the left with Aho in the middle and Rantanen on the right. And there are people who are really excited about that, and I keep explaining, and we talked about this with Erik Cole, it's more about duos, not trios. And the third person on a line can and should be interchangeable. But it's all about how Rantanen and Aho connect. The truth of the matter is that when Rantanen first got here and he was playing with Aho and Blake, Rantanen and Blake actually clicked a lot. They just didn't score, but they had great number of scoring chances. And that was at a time where people were, for some dumb reason, mad at Jackson Blake. Like, he's the guy that's creating the chances with Rantanen. You should be mad at the guy in the middle who wasn't doing much. But, that's how people are.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen for the...
Oh my goodness!
check in for the beautiful back cut and a two-hand jam. Don't miss the race to the other end. Get ready for the show. What was that? A reverse pull-up. My goodness. Hubbard got hit, and he made the shot. You're home for the Final Four from San Antonio. Cooper got it to rattle home. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Welcome home. Your home's not just where you live, it's where life happens. At Baker Home Exteriors, we're proud to continue Baker Roofing's century-long legacy of excellence, bringing that same craftsmanship to your doorstep. Whether it's roofing, siding, gutters, or more, we transform houses into the homes you've always dreamed of. Visit BakerHomeExteriors.com and let's build something beautiful together. That's BakerHomeExteriors.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
He looks as close to in shape, right? Like this guy, if this is out of shape, Luka, right? I was expecting Rikishi to walk down the court the way that they were talking about this dude. But he is all over the court, blocking shots, getting steals, and he's only going to get better. He's only going to get more in shape. He's only going to get more game tested. It's the complete game. I think that is what the Lakers need.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. We're going to talk to Brett Friedlander in about 20 minutes. We'll do a little ACC-centric stuff. Maybe reimagining the way we schedule, be smart, and be better. And I'm going to read now. What? Nothing could be worse than that.
No.
Story time.
I love story time.
Okay, so our corner office fearless leader, Paul, came down the hall and said something to me at the beginning of the last break. And Sebastian Aho, I'm sure you know who he is, has written for the Players Tribune. Written beautifully, by the way, as far as I can read it in about 3 minutes.
In English.
In English, yeah, no cursing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an article that it just says to Canes fans. So he doesn't necessarily go where you think he might go. It's really an homage to the head coach. It's really what it is. But I thought the first paragraph sums up, to me, the disconnect between what many of the Hurricanes fans' echo chamber thinks and reality. And I'm not being critical. Everybody wants the same thing. Everybody who is a Hurricanes fan wants this team to win a Stanley Cup. By the way, before I go through this, Greg Wyshynski for ESPN has his, he wrote a whole bunch about the contending teams for the Stanley Cup, and he because it's a trade deadline primer, essentially, and he at the beginning of it, he points out, like, for whatever reason, Mikko Rantanen is still available. And what I'm saying is that the Hurricanes shouldn't rule out trading him. I mentioned this yesterday. They've got 9 days, 8 now, starting tonight. The trade deadline is next Friday. They've got 8 days, and I believe 5 games to figure out who they are, where they're going, and how to get there. Best case scenario is it is with Mikko Rantanen. But it should not be ruled out that it might not be with Mikko Rantanen. That I just want that point out there. And anyway, I was going back and forth with Greg because he said the best thing for Carolina, whether they keep him or not after this season, is to go after winning the Stanley Cup with him. We just texted back and forth today. And my opinion, I said this yesterday, is that the way they are playing right now, they appear to have holes that even if Rantanen plays well and the Hurricanes start scoring a bunch of goals, that I still look at them as a second-tier Cup contender because of the problems right now that he can't do anything about, or that Aho or Svechnikov can't do anything about. And that is, right now, the blue line has been a problem, and goaltending has just been, and you need better than that. Now, if the Hurricanes start scoring 5 goals a game, those things won't matter. But we know that they're not going to start scoring 5 goals a game, and certainly that won't keep up in the playoffs anyway. You can't expect that. So this is where those two things that I mentioned need to get better for the Hurricanes to be, to me, a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. Is it out of the realm of possibility that those in some ways self-correct? No, that could happen. It could absolutely happen. So, with that said, I just want to read the first part of Aho's Players Tribune piece that dropped today from, it says, 2 Canes fans. He said, I think about the playoff losses a lot. It hurt then, it hurts now. Each one of them stays with me. It stays with us. We have scar tissue. That's the honest truth. There's no point in lying about it. It's there, and it's a part of who this team is, of who we are going to be, and I am thinking about it now not because I'm taking the regular season for granted or because we're already thinking ahead. It's actually the opposite. This year's team, we don't want to be we don't want to just be talented or a tight group. We want to have a real identity, something we can rely on no matter what happens during a month or a game or a series. Something that we know is us, something that is true to Hurricanes hockey through and through. And that thing is simple: hard work. I don't care at all if you think it's a cliche. We've come up short 6 years in a row, and each year we try to learn from it and make changes and do something different. Sometimes maybe we've tried to be things we aren't. It happens. And there are teams all around the league who have certain styles of play or things they're great at, and so do we. But what I want is for us to be the hardest working team in the league, the team that doesn't leave a stone unturned. First one's in, last one's out, that type of stuff. Because when we break through, when we finally lift the cup, it will be because of all the reps before that moment, all the hard work. That's the way through. Everybody is a loser until they're a winner. And I know we're winners. So it's a great piece as far as I could have gotten through it in about 3.5 minutes, right? There is an homage to Rod Brind'Amour, the coach. He has taken, I know Rod does not pay any attention to social media. So he doesn't know the level of frustration that has manifested itself in, we might need a new coach. Rod's done the most he can do. He doesn't know that. But for those of us who exist in that space too often, we see it, and it makes us mad.
It's ridiculous.
So, and I get, because there is an element of, and by the way, Rod's going to, I recorded an interview with Rod earlier, and we're going to present that to you at 2:15. So it's really a quickie about tonight's game. But I think first of all, there's some fun at the end of it, but I think it's a pretty good insight into what's going on right now. The point is, sometimes we forget, A, where we were, why we're where we are, and how we got there. And this is what we've been trying to talk about over the last couple of weeks since the trade that brought Ranton in here, in that, and it was good to hear the head coach say it after the game, we've gotten away from what we are. And that's what Sebastian Aho is saying. Like, we have to remember why we're good. Mikko Rantanen, it's why I asked Erik Cole earlier, can Mikko adapt to a different way of playing? And I understand Mikko scored all these points. This is kind of weird. I actually don't know Colorado's record with Necas and Drury. It's about 500. But Necas has 12 points in 10 games with the Avalanche. He's even. He's not +6. He's got 12 points, but he's even. So we get all into a dream world about some of the sexy statistics, and I'm not saying we shouldn't. But what I'm saying is we lose sight of what the real goal is. This team should be about, how do we best win? You're not going to change the way you play for a player. You shouldn't. Because you won't be as good as a team. And who cares? If Mikko Rantanen had 16 points right now, and the Hurricanes, they're not winning. They're 3-5-1 since he got here. But if Rantanen had 16 points and the Hurricanes were 3-5-1, that wouldn't be any better than it is now. It wouldn't be. Because it would be wasted. So let's get everybody playing the way this team plays best and then see if it works. Until they do that, and they haven't been doing that, it's going to look like it did. Like, you can win some games this way, because they will. I mean, they could play like crap and beat Buffalo tonight. No joke. They could be all over the place, make tons of defensive mistakes, maybe get bailed out by a goalie. I don't know. But they can win a bad game tonight, and some people will go, see, they won. Like, yeah, it's about how they go about it. The problem with the last two games wasn't that they lost. It was that in Toronto, they were a mess. And in Montreal, they were kind of anemic offensively. And I heard this, or I saw this, because I wasn't listening to people type on social media. The Rantanen, Roslovic, Svechnikov line, if you go to natural stat trick, you would think, oh my gosh, they were great. Come on. There were a couple of flurries of good, but they definitely weren't great. So this is where, if you just judge by a box score or by just the data, it can and will trick you. It's why you've got to combine the two. Sometimes the data helps you see things you didn't. But if you watched the game, they weren't really dangerous. Again, a couple of flurries. Hey, and sometimes those flurries create goals. You know who wasn't really dangerous all night? Montreal. But a couple of good bounces, a couple of, maybe a goal that shouldn't have been allowed, and all of a sudden it's 4. That's really what happened in that game. Montreal was good, better than Carolina, but anyway, I don't want to talk in circles. They have 5 games to figure it out, is what they do. It'd be great if Sebastian Aho and I hope writing this, however this was created for the Players Tribune, I hope Aho leads the way in getting back to the way the team plays, because I got news for people. He's not McKinnon. He's not McDavid. He's not Matthews. He's not one of those.
Never will be.
But he is a great player.
Mm-hmm.
And when number 20 has it going the way the Hurricanes play, they are a really good team. So let's see if Aho can lead this hard work, comes first, leads everything else team to a win tonight and build off of that over everybody else. And it never hurts to wear Whalers uniforms. The Hurricanes have I believe they've always gotten at least a point when dressed as the Hartford Whalers.
Well, that would be progress.
So, yeah, well, certainly over the last 2 games. Mm-hmm. But honestly, they need I think a lot of people can relate. They need a good slump buster tonight. They need goals. We need a power play goal or 3 tonight.
Yes.
And it would be really good to see 20 and 96 connect. Not some sort of fancy way, but the way the Hurricanes play. I really do. I think they need something like that. All right, when we come back, Brett Friedlander, Saturday Down South, ACC columnist, on the possibility that the ACC is bold enough to do things like, yes, we have games in the middle of this week, but we just don't know who's going to play them. Flex scheduling. Or maybe we just flip games. You're not playing this team, you're going to play this team. We'll talk about that next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
would you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like, you know to check you have gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes. He
and I
hurt
went,
you.
oh, that's why. That's what.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria. She's got the music selections today. Lights out for the Wolfpack and the Demon Deacons, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But,
stick a fork in it.
Yeah, both. Just so disappointing yesterday. Brett Friedlander, Saturday Down South, ACC columnist, joins us now on the Adam Gold Show. First of all, I haven't spoken to you since Friday. So let's start with some ACC basketball stuff from last night. The Wolfpack got to win 3. Otherwise, there's no ACC tournament because actually, the more I think about it, they can't get away with 2 because either Notre Dame or Cal is going to win 1 because they play each other, which means that one of those teams would definitely stay ahead of them. Although I guess they could still win 2, and I don't know, whatever.
They're not winning 3. So
They're not, exactly. How did this team, is it acceptable that this team is in this spot?
Look, I equate it a little bit with Florida State football. I mean, you can hit on the transfer portal, and he did last year with DJ Horn and Mohamed Diarra, but he whiffed this year, and it happens. That's the nature of retooling your team with transfers every year. It's an inexact science. So, I'm willing to give him a little bit of a break. That and Mike James not playing a single game this year.
Yeah.
But it was not a well-constructed team. There's no go-to guy. Just a total mess.
Yeah, okay. So I agree there is no go-to guy, and the portal certainly didn't bear fruit as it has in the past. But I still think that there's enough good there where for this team to have just 4 wins in this ACC seems like something else was going on.
Yeah, the thing that I will gig Keats on is that I think that at a certain point in the season, he should have sold out for his young guys. Mm-hmm. Paul McNeil should have been in the lineup a lot earlier, and he should have given him the Terquavion Smith, green light to shoot whenever he wants to. I mean, the kid scored, 70-something points in a high school game? He should have had Trey Parker in there for big minutes a lot earlier. Dennis Parker Jr. should have been playing a lot more. And so I think that, he stayed with the same thing way too long, and it clearly wasn't working. And maybe it wouldn't have worked with the young guys, but my God, you have to try something different because, at a certain point, you bang your head against the wall enough times, you realize that it hurts and you stop, right?
Theoretically, yes, that's the way it's supposed to work. Like, again, last night they got off to a bad start. They had to win the game last night. I mean, it was just non-negotiable. Get off to a bad start, but then they get back in it. And then all of a sudden, like, why is this guy shooting a 3? Why is this guy shooting a 3? They're like 3 bad shots in a row, and they cut it to 8. And it was actually right after a Trey Parker steal, and he takes a 3. I didn't hate the shot. I didn't love the shot, but I didn't hate it. Would have loved it more if it had gone in, but it didn't. They didn't get the rebound, and I think the whole game disintegrated.
Adam,
from there.
The most confounding and really frustrating thing about this NC State team is that you've seen what they're capable of. The Duke game at Cameron until the last 3 minutes. The Wake Forest game. It's there, but why is it not there from game to game? And again, that one you have to put on Keats.
Yeah, I agree. I was completely fooled by the Duke game. I thought that team is going to win a lot of games, and then that team never showed up again. All right, speaking of Wake Forest, for the entirety of the Steve Forbes era, it had been about offense until this year, and this team was rooted in defense. And then last night against a very, very unimpressive Virginia team, apart from really one player, they decided not to defend. A game they couldn't lose. Mm-hmm. Do you have an explanation for that?
And they didn't defend the game before that against NC State.
That's true, they didn't, yeah. Maybe they decided we're going to go back to our roots.
Yeah, but this is their MO. I mean, they did the same thing last year. You remember the Kyle Filipowski wounded knee game? They won that, and that supposedly got them in the tournament.
Right.
And then they, shot themselves in the foot, for lack of a better term, a couple of times and ended up out of the tournament. And, it's confounding. Now, here's the thing about Wake. While NC State is done, I mean, and you know what? Being put out of their misery here and not go to Charlotte is probably the best thing because they weren't going to win it there anyway. So their fans should just save the money, stay home and watch replays of last year's tournament and just kind of, relive the glory. But Wake still actually has a pathway to get into the tournament. I mean, it's very implausible, but go to Cameron and win next week. And you're back in the picture, or go to Charlotte and win 3 straight games or 4 straight games. I mean, it is plausible, but it ain't going to happen. And you have to start wondering. Steve Forbes, it's much better than the Danny Manning and the Jeff Bzdelik era.
Right.
But you have to ask the question: has the Steve Forbes era plateaued? Is this as good as they're going to get under Steve Forbes? And the answer to that question is not going to come from John Curry. It's not going to come from the fans. It's going to come from Mitch Shaw. And, if he says, I'm not giving any more money, or I'm going to dry up the pipeline there, then they're going to make a change. But if Mitt says, we're still better off than we were with Danny Manning, I'm going to give him another year or two, then he'll stay. But I would say he's in real trouble.
Yeah, at the very least. And I love Steve Forbes, and he is
I do too.
Affable and personality plus, and he's got good coaching in his background. It's not like he hasn't been successful. You don't advance to where he has advanced without having a level of success in your past on your resume. But at some point, they do have to start making the NCAA tournament and winning games. And I don't think they're going to be in it. If you examine Wake and North Carolina, first of all, the difference is Wake beat UNC, but I think it's beyond that, is that Wake's got one win that Carolina doesn't have, and that's at SMU. Carolina's played a much tougher schedule. You flip
Wake also beat Michigan back in right. November.
Yeah, before Michigan was good, right? But still,
well, but I mean, but
now it works.
But to listen to the talking heads, November and December games mean everything, right?
They do. They do matter because they set the narrative, and it's unfortunate the ACC played the SEC 1,000 times and only won 2 of those games. Duke and Clemson, the 2 real good teams in the league. Although I throw Louisville kind of as a third wheel in that mix, but I don't think Wake's all that good. No. To me, the separator really is the SMU game because Carolina's got a good win too. That win over UCLA, which was a comeback win, by the way. And I thought,
Adam, here's the thing: you mentioned UNC. Wake Forest's loss is the Tar Heels' gain right now because I sincerely believe 4 ACC teams are getting in the tournament. And with Wake Forest dropping by the wayside and SMU's resume very, very bare, although their net is great.
Yeah.
I think UNC can get in now without beating Duke. I think if they don't stumble against Miami and I can't remember who else, Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And they win 1 game in Charlotte, I think they're in.
I think they got to win 2 in Charlotte. And I think they could get swept by Duke 3 times. I think they could lose to Duke 3 times and still get in. I don't think.
But losing to Duke helps them, though. Because it's Duke.
I don't know if it helps.
And that's the way the net works.
I don't know if it helps, but it probably shouldn't hurt. Like, they will have more losses to teams on the one line than anybody in the history of basketball. Because we could be looking at Duke, Florida, Alabama, and Auburn, right? Although Florida's loss to Georgia might have gotten in the way of that. Who knows? But we could be looking at those 4 teams on the one line, and Carolina could have have 6 losses to teams on the one line by the time we get to the end of the season. But I think if they
get them in.
Yeah, it could. Well, that wouldn't get them. But if they could beat either Louisville or Clemson, Louisville more likely than Clemson, in my opinion. Clemson is a terrible matchup for the Tar Heels. But
Clemson's a really good team and a very underrated team that could really, I think, could be a Final Four team.
And physical, and a physical team, which is bad for UNC. So let me get to the other part of this equation. Because you and I agree, I don't think Carolina's done yet at all, and I think they maybe 60% chance they get an at-large bid without beating Duke. But let me float this idea because Connor O'Neill brought it up yesterday. We have great respect for Connor O'Neill. I say that even if you don't.
I do.
I know. He's great. So Duke just played Miami, and nobody wanted to see that. That was not fair. It was not fit for human consumption to watch that game. And by the way, Tyrese Proctor appears to be okay. Just a bone bruise, should be fine. However long.
Kyle Filipowski injury.
Yeah, whatever. I'm glad he's okay. He's a pretty big piece, and we can discuss your thoughts on Duke without him because I saw you on Twitter talking about it. But what if we had the league not have that Duke-Miami game? Like we say, you know what? We can't have that game. Who's playing Virginia Tech that night? We'll make something up. Clemson was playing. Louisville played Virginia Tech.
Yes.
Instead of Louisville and Virginia Tech playing and Duke and Miami playing, let's let Virginia Tech go to Miami, Louisville come to Cameron Indoor Stadium, and let's put a better game on television for people.
I agree. And, it's plausible because as long as the home teams are still the same, what difference does it make who they play? So you could have the 2 visiting teams just switch itineraries. I mean, you've got the rooms at the hotel already reserved. The flights, no, seriously, you just flip-flop. And I think it's doable. I mean, look, the NFL flex schedules all the time. And, as long as you don't mess with the TV networks, and believe me, they would love it, and you don't mess with the people who bought tickets, then why not? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Here's the thing about this whole the whole notion of flex scheduling, because that's really what we're talking about. And the ACC has sort of floated some crazy things at the end of the regular season in football, right? About this team playing this team to advance, have a semifinal. Shouldn't we make our schedules for television now?
Well, why not? Because that's who dictates it.
The number one thing about everything is inventory and as many good games as we can possibly have. And as long as we're not going to have, we have 18 teams in basketball. So you play 2 teams twice and everybody else once, and that's still probably too many conference games. Let's just have the best teams play each other and let it all shake out and not be worried about seeding or anything like that.
And Adam, you know what? If you're the ACC and you are fighting a perception problem that is just, off the charts bad, wouldn't you want to showcase your best teams on the national platform as opposed to having, people have to sit through Miami and Virginia Tech?
In basketball.
No, seriously.
Right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes in football, too, yeah.
I mean, keep them as far away from the public eye as possible and just showcase your best teams.
Yeah, put them on Plus, on the ACC Network Extra. Miami this year should have been relegated only to ACC Network Extra. We shouldn't have had to watch them on any sort of not over the air, but I guess sometimes over the air. It was what a terrible, terrible year it was for the University of Miami, including it started with missing out on the college football playoff. And I actually think I know we weren't going to talk about this. I think Miami got screwed more than Alabama got screwed.
I agree.
Because
you know what? Miami did it to themselves. Just go to Syracuse and hold on to a 21-point lead.
True. That's a very good point. It really was about Miami blowing it, but when you add it all up at the end, they could have gotten Indiana's spot more than Indiana.
Agreed.
Not Alabama. The Alabama-Indiana conversation, there were 2 wins separating that. And in a 12-game college football season, 2 wins is significant. One... Yeah. I think one.
It was never going to happen anyway because Miami's an ACC team, and we're talking about the Big Ten SEC block, the evil empire.
Yes, that is true. And who knows how it's going to shake out? Do you think the ACC can hold any leverage over the SEC and the Big Ten in any current conversations about reseeding the college football playoff this year?
No.
Yeah,
and I think that Jim Phillips should be happy that they're talking about giving him 2 spots and just run with it because
I wouldn't.
There's a good chance that in a lot of years you're only going to deserve 1. So I think.
Here's what I would do if I were Jim Phillips. Brett Friedlander, by the way, Saturday Down South ACC columnist, is joining us here. This is what I would do. I would be screaming for what the greater good needs, because at some point. The college football universe, the ecosystem that we live in, somebody has to be the loud voice that says, all of this stuff might be good for you in the SEC and you in the Big Ten, but it isn't good for the whole. And everybody needs to hear that over and over and over and over again.
Kumbaya, Adam.
And nobody's doing that, except maybe you and me. Maybe we have to do it.
Kumbaya. That sounds nice, and let's all go around the campfire and say let's all do the greater good thing. But that's not how it works. When you're outvoted, you can yell all you want, and I don't want to get political here, but it's basically the same thing in Congress. I mean, you can, if you're in the minority, you can yell all you want, but if the other side's got the votes, too bad.
I was taking a sip, so I wouldn't say anything. Yes, you're 100% correct. Duke without Tyrese Proctor would have been what to you?
Pretty devastating in the long term. But the good news here is that they didn't give up on Caleb Foster, and Caleb Foster doesn't appear to have given up on them, even though he's really been out of the rotation for the last 4 or 5 games. But when they put him in there, I mean, he's a bucket. I mean, he's scored like double figures in 4 of the last 5 games he's played in, and he's played like 6 minutes in each game. So I think in the short term, against Wake Forest, against Florida State on Saturday, they will be fine. I think as long as Tyrese is back for the UNC game and definitely by the tournament and is in full health by the time the NCAA starts, they'll be fine. But I think in the short term, they're going to be okay. I mean, the way Isaiah Evans has stepped up really has added a dimension to that team that, I think he'll take up some of the scoring slack while Tyrese is out. But in a way, it could actually be good because it just kind of gets Foster back in the groove and gets his confidence back a little bit, and he might be able to help them down the road.
Yeah, I think Duke has cover at that position. Yeah. But again, Proctor being out long term, I still think they could have mitigated it because of not only Foster, but really Evans. Evans has been just tremendous, and he's been good on both ends of the floor. He's been a very good defender, and that's the other part of Proctor that they would miss is his ability to defend. Are they national championship good?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you see the Illinois game? I mean, that would kind of shut up Duke has never played anybody because they're in the ACC people. That kind of took that one out of the equation.
Yeah, part of me wished it would have been more competitive, but it was a curb stomping from the beginning. So, Brett Friedlander, Saturday Down South, ACC columnist. Are you going to a college baseball game this weekend?
Of course I am.
Where are you going?
I'm actually gonna be down in Greenville at East Carolina because my friend Tracy Archuleta, who I met at the D2 World Series, was the manager of Southern Indiana when they won 2 national championships. I covered them for their local paper. He's at Indiana State now, and they're playing Virginia Tech in the Keith LeClaire Classic, so I'll be down there tomorrow watching them.
Very good. We're going to talk to Aaron Fitt of D1Baseball.com next hour about ACC baseball and some ECU stuff as well. So I wanted you to get a college baseball shout out there. Thank you very much.
Anytime, Adam.
Brett Friedlander. He's a big college baseball guy. And there are a lot of people out there that are, and we should be. We have great college baseball here. Do you know what's going to happen in college baseball starting this upcoming offseason? Right now, college baseball is allotted 11.7 scholarships for their whole roster. So if you've got, let's just say, 30 players on your roster, and most rosters are bigger, you're just dividing scholarships up. Now, there are ways to get around it. That's how Wake and Duke have great baseball programs. How Vanderbilt, Virginia have great baseball programs. Because otherwise, all these players would be paying, roughly $50,000 to $70,000 a year for the opportunity to play baseball, which doesn't make any sense financially. But because of the House settlement, college baseball will be allowed to offer as many as 34 scholarships, full scholarships in baseball. So you're going from a sport where basically you're giving out 1/3 scholarships to everybody on average to full rides to everyone for baseball. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll stretch, then we will come and place bets. I was second day in a row.
Yeah.
I was 1 win away
from
connecting on a stupid parlay.
That hurts every time. Never gets better.
It didn't really hurt. I didn't expect it to win. We'll do that next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
During the sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the
right seat. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
Whether we're a CEO, manager,
coworker,
or someone with a mental health condition ourselves.
So what can I do to help?
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's why.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. It is Whalers night.
80s and 90s bump music.
By the way, the arena does a great job of going back and playing bumps from, usually they pick a specific year window.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Hartford Whalers were around since the mid-'70s, all the way through, mid to late 90s. So it's a 20-year era. We can go anywhere.
It's a lot of music.
We can go rock the boat for all we know.
I know.
So, anyway, it's always fun at the arena for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are we ready? Are we ready to stretch?
Let's do it.
Easy for me to say.
Well, there might be something that can help you with your days because
I'm all about that.
Alexa is getting a whole lot smarter and we should all be worried. Because we are living RoboCopness right now. Okay, I'm reading about this new Alexa Plus and wow, I mean, it might be helpful, but whoa, it's getting personal because it's coming out in March. Only a handful of people are going to get it to start things off, but then eventually they'll spread it out for everyone. But this new Alexa Plus, she can do a lot of things, like make dinner reservations, order groceries, book an Uber, text people.
Before you keep going on, does she do any of these things on her own?
See, that's what I'm wondering. That's why I feel like this is some RoboCop stuff, or this is some movie horror thing where, like, the robots come to life and murder you.
Yeah, none of this sounds good.
Because this does not sound good at all. So you would think, okay, she can order groceries, but then she has to think like, whatever. But she's texting people. Are we going to trust Alexa to text people? Oh, that wasn't me. That was Alexa. That's going to be the new excuse. She also can buy stuff on Amazon. She's using her own money. She can snag concert tickets that hit Ticketmaster, which that might be helpful.
This sounds like a movie I don't want to see.
I know. Wait till the soap operas get this. This is going to be a whole new chapter. So, Days of Our Lives just come out. So, also, it will browse the internet to complete tasks for you. Like, for example, if you need a new dishwasher, apparently this Alexa will actually make the appointment with the repair place to have them fix your appliance, set the appointment, and put it on your calendar. To remind you about the appointment that you didn't make. So
this is a little much.
It's it's a little crazy. Also, gets creepier. So she will help you remember things because, say you're making dinner and one of your family members is allergic to shellfish. She will remind you that your family's coming over on Thursday for dinner. Don't make shrimp. Yeah.
Okay.
Bob's allergic to lobster. So that's one thing that she'll do.
All right.
She will also
it's terrifying.
Let you know that you should leave earlier because traffic is bad. However, that wouldn't work where I live. Probably not you either because traffic changes because I drive so far away. So it may be fine when I leave, but yeah. So they are trying to market her as a, quote, engaging with an insightful friend aspect. Like, instead of looking at it as a smart speaker, she's an insightful friend. So Prime members will get it for free. Everyone else, though, will have to pay $20 a month if you want this creepy robot in your house doing things for you. And it says it's helpful for people with a newer Echo Show device.
Right.
I don't know what this is, so I'm behind on the times, but maybe you do. And that's a smart speaker with a built-in screen. So, yeah. We don't need screens either.
I mean, honestly, that technology terrifies me.
Yeah. Maybe I'm old school for that, but yeah, it makes me a little nervous.
They're spying on us.
Makes me a little nervous.
They're spying on us anyway, so it doesn't matter. She's going to
remind you of an appointment that you didn't make for the appliance that's broken that you may or may not have told her about. She just heard you talk about it. So
we're being stalked constantly.
This is terrible. So I don't know. It's up to you. If anyone's interested in that is coming out. Alexa Plus is a thing. Also is a thing. I know we've been talking about like 80s, 90s music for Whalers Night. Maybe some classic rock lovers love Ozzy Osbourne. Well, he is on his final tour and he is making a documentary now that might be interesting to watch. I mean, his family's been on reality TV now forever. So it's no surprise.
That's how we know Sharon.
Exactly. And his kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So he is coming out with another documentary, and this is going to be on Paramount Plus. It's called, quote, No Escape from Now. It's going to premiere later this year, but basically it's talking about him going through his Parkinson's and, just talking about the music. He said, quote, the last 6 years have been full of some of the worst times I've been through. There's been times I thought my number was up, but making music and making 2 albums saved him. So he then said he'd go nuts without music, yada yada. We all know the deal. Sharon also said how it's been a big impact on their life, so all of this is going to be on the documentary. I'm sure there will be plenty of F-bombs that they will not bleep because this isn't MTV. And this is Paramount Plus, so you can get the full effect of Ozzy Osbourne if you really want to. But yeah, that will be out later this year apparently, so they are no strangers to television. That is for sure. And last but not least, I don't know if there's any people who like to do crafty things, but Joan Fabrics I don't know if you know the fabric store. Well, it's closing. It's been around for only 82 years, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Why are we out of fabric?
I
What
think
happened?
so. They're not using fabric now. They need to call Alexa Plus and figure out where we're getting our new fabric from.
Where am I getting fabric now from, Alexa?
But all of these craft stores, I guess, are just not doing well these days. And Joan Fabrics is another one to bite the dust. So
That's a bummer.
I know. But, it's not a bummer, hopefully.
Maybe.
Our good bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
On Tuesday, I did a 4-leg Premier League parlay.
It's plus 2,400.
Yeah, but I only won 3 of the 4, so we didn't win.
So
Yesterday,
it was plus nothing.
Exactly. Yesterday, I went for 5 legs, and it was plus 6,600.
Oh.
And got 4 of the 5.
Oh, jeez. Still plus nothing.
There's only one Premier League game today. There will be no parlay involved.
Oh, no.
You go first.
Okay, well, all on the ice today. Like we've talked about, the Canes are back home against the Buffalo Sabres. So you know what? I feel like maybe tonight might be a good Jackson Blake anytime goaler night.
Yeah.
So that'd be a good Whalers goal. Jackson Blake is plus 270.
Here's the thing. I saw that number. Jackson Blake, without scoring goals, because he has not scored a lot of goals lately.
No.
The number for a Jackson Blake anytime goal score, has come down. Before the break, Jackson Blake anytime goal was like plus 400, plus 450.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's plus 270, and I'm like, he's not scoring. Why are we dropping the value?
They all want him to score, too.
Because of that, I'm staying away from it, because he doesn't score a lot.
Right.
I will start with a Hurricanes anytime goal scorer.
Ooh.
Seth Jarvis, plus 185.
Yeah. There you go.
We'll go Seth tonight.
Yes, Seth.
Not quite deep into the, the long shots.
Yep.
But there's value at plus 185 anyway.
Right. You're back home on the American side.
There
Let's
you go.
score for the Canes.
There you go.
I'm also hoping that maybe this is a high-scoring game for our Carolina Hurricanes on Whalers night. So will there be a goal in the first 5 minutes? Yes, please. Let it be the Canes. Plus 160.
The people will not know what to do if the Hurricanes score a goal in the first 5 minutes of the game. They will not know what to do.
Stretch, but
I am not buying a Hurricanes win tonight.
Okay.
Because they are going to win.
Yes.
They are going to win, so I don't feel like I need to donate $5 to the cause.
Okay.
The Hurricanes. But I do think there will be goals in the game tonight. Rasmus Dahlin for Buffalo, plus 500 anytime goal scorer.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm hopefully going to buy us a win by just going with the Canes. So give me our Carolina Hurricanes to win. But I'm also going to take the under because it's set at 6.5, which feels kind of high for me. I don't know. Maybe the Canes will score 6 goals by themselves. But give me the Carolina Hurricanes. Under 6.5 goals is plus 160.
Under 6.5 goals? Very nice. I do have a 2-leg NHL parlay for you because parlays are fun.
Especially when you win and hit all of them.
When you don't win them. Edmonton to win in Florida tonight. Florida might be without Matthew Tkachuk for some time.
Yeah.
And Columbus to win in Detroit tonight. They are both plus money. And when you combine it, it's plus 405.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
And my Premier League selection is West Ham should beat Leicester today.
Yeah.
West Ham playing pretty well. Leicester is in the relegation zone. So forget about the game. Thomas Suchek, anytime goal, plus 350.
Oh.
I'm giving people money today.
Did you see, also speaking of the Tkachuk brothers, did you see that they were on with the Kelsey Brothers podcast?
I heard that they were on. I did not listen or watch the podcast, but yes.
No, I haven't
The
seen
Tkachuk
it.
brothers are everywhere. Matthew was just on
one of the
Tonight
late
Show.
night shows.
Yeah.
Was it Fallon or one of the? Yeah,
He was on
just
Fallon.
on the late night. I know. I bet that podcast is funny. I only saw like the little snippet tease on the Twitters, but it looked funny. So
yeah, well, they have been
They're both goofy.
absolutely. Yeah, they are, but they've been everywhere, and that's good for them. Matthew, for Florida's sake, they need Matthew to play
on the ice.
Yeah, and this is the negative side of what we watched for 10 days with the Four Nations face-off. Those guys put it out. and some of them got hurt. And that's what owners are always going to push back. Even though you can get hurt anywhere, owners are always going to go, yeah, I'm not sure about this because of that. All right, a wall of sound, and then the head coach, Rod Brind'Amour, next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Johnson trying to step back for a three. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damas from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The Get That Out of Here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Dennis Cox for ESPN Bet Sportsbook. As football winds down, college basketball is gearing up. Fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get in on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 to get $100 in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app and sign up with the promo code RADIO100 to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter. Happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra-bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super-fast 5G network. See? Isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account imported on $60 plan. First service charge, tax to its sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
If only life had a remote control. You could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
These days, it feels like everyone is talking about how the American dream of homeownership has become out of reach for so many of us. Well, Rocket is trying to give us more of a chance to own our homes. They're making homeownership simpler and more accessible to more people, turning renters into owners. Rocket believes that every one of us deserves a shot at the American dream. So, are you ready? Own the dream. Visit Rocket.com or call 800-4ROCKET.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Son from the score! Shane Gostisbehere. He'd gone 20 games without, and that's a big whiff. Canes on the board. Gostisbehere 7. Now stretch the couple to go. They score! On a one-timer, Andrei Svechnikov has got Carolina within 2 with 5:14 left. Shot right on by Slavin. Now back for Burns to try to get it in. Slavin scores! A bouncing puck! Jacob Slavin, the Minister of Defense with some offense, and Carolina is now within a goal with 4:54 left here in the third.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the Adam Gold Show. See, if we just play the best bits of the loss in Toronto, people will think, oh, we're fine. Oh, man. Hi, everyone. We're on YouTube. YouTube.com/Adam Gold Show /999 The Fan. Either one, same place. Victoria's here. I'm here. Canes are dressed as Whalers tonight, taking on the Buffalo Sabres, who will still be dressed as Sabres. Carolina will be wearing the green shorts and white Whalers uniform tops tonight, white jerseys tonight, and the green helmets. It's great color scheme. Looking forward to seeing everything decked out in whether it's 80s or 90s Whaler-like costumes. Very cool.
I know. I'm curious to see what they'll do in the stadium, too. Like you mentioned earlier, they usually do fun stuff. So
Well, we'll have Pucky the Whale.
I know. We'll have him there.
Pucky is awesome. One of my favorite whales.
Yeah.
I thought about like who are my favorite whales, and I couldn't come up with anything other
Free
than
Willy.
Pucky.
Willy is Willy's a good whale.
Fudgy. People who grew up in the area where I grew up with Carvel will know Fudgy the Whale is. Who's gonna
there you go.
criticize me for that? So yeah, so good big game tonight for Carolina. Obviously, I mean, got to beat Buffalo. Got to start looking like you are. I read the piece an hour ago, or at least part of it. I didn't read all of it because it's a longer piece. Sebastian Aho wrote for the Players Tribune, and we're going to do a wall sound here in a second. You'll hear from Kevin Keats on last night's loss, but the Sebastian Aho piece that is titled "To Canes Fans" is about the first part of it anyway, is about the identity of the team and what the identity of the team needs to be and what it's been and playing to that identity. And I read it before. I'm not going to read it again, but I tweeted it out. If you want to go to Twitter, to my timeline at @AGoldFan, it's absolutely worth reading if you're a Hurricanes fan. And this has been the reaction from basically everybody who's read it, or at least saw that I retweeted it. Sometimes people comment without reading. I'm not going to criticize that. Give him the C already, meaning Sebastian Aho to be the captain. Sebastian Aho will be the next captain of the Hurricanes. But right now, the captain is Jordan Staal, and I'm not telling you it's not going to change as long as he's on the team. I'm telling you it shouldn't change as long as he is on the team. We talked about this when Erik Staal had his night. It was a bad idea. It was poorly executed, but a bad idea when, whether it was Paul Maurice or Jim Rutherford or both, the decision was made to give the C from Rod Brind'Amour to Erik Staal. It was just a bad idea. Rod Brind'Amour wasn't any less the captain. If you were going to do that, that should have been done after the season, not during the season. Okay? But even so, it should not have been done until Rod was done playing. It was unfair to all parties. Not Rod. It was unfair to Erik, too. Jordan Staal not only is a great captain, and he is, he deserves respect from everybody. Aho will be the next captain of the team. No doubt about it. And he does display a ton of leadership. And he cares. Man, I'm telling you, he cares. So It's a good piece. Go check it out. I retweeted it. Or you can just go to theplayerstribune.com and read it. But it's everything you want.
Oh, yeah.
From a player like that. And again, he knows what Carolina is about. He knows what the team's identity is, has been, should be, will be going forward. And he sounds like a guy who's ready to or wants to lean into it. So let's see it play itself out on the ice.
He's bled his own blood for the team.
Finnish blood.
Yes.
Which is, I guess, colder than...
I know.
don't know.
Yeah,
It's
who
not.
knows?
All right, Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Before we continue, Chip Tracy, Shamu. Shamu will win.
Oh, yes.
Right.
See?
Orca, Shamu, Pucky,
right?
Fudgy.
Yeah.
I can't come up with another one.
I know. Since it's 90s, mine was just going Free Willy.
Yeah.
The
Free Willy.
Yeah.
Is Free Willy a whale?
Yeah, the killer orca whale. He's Free Willy. You don't remember him with Michael Jackson and the kid over the... People are like, come on, Gold. You know, it's such a good movie. Speaking of the 90s.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, time for the Wall of Sound. Kevin Keats. All right, big picture. What was the difference last night against Syracuse?
They scored at such a high rate around the basket. I mean, when you give up that many twos, their field goal percentage was way too high in comparison to the way we have defended, and I just didn't like it. Our defense was not very good, and it struggled because our offense wasn't very good. But once again, I go back to it. The story of the game is when you look at it, it's 46 points in the paint.
Yeah, around the basket, getting pounded. Other factors, key factors that led to Syracuse's win.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I told him, it was one of those nights where we just we could not make a shot, and obviously we got off to a really terrible start because our shots weren't falling. But at the end of the day, the game comes down to toughness. I just thought they were completely tougher than us. When you look at it, you look at Davis, you look at Lampkin. They really just bullied us. The numbers that they have are 15-7 and 14 points and 15 rebounds. We gave up 46 points in the paint. We played hard at the end and tried to make it interesting, but we dug ourselves in such a bad hole because obviously we didn't play well offensively to start the game, and then obviously I just thought they pounded us inside, and we tried different things. We tried to go big, but we were in complete foul trouble. And give those guys credit. That's something that we were able to do last year with Mo Diarra and DJ Burns, and kind of turned around on us tonight.
The other thing that has been plaguing State all year has been, and we've talked about it, they don't have a guy that they really know can go get them, get them points. Although, doesn't it seem like in the second half of the year that Dontrez Styles has been that player? Anyway, he had a good game last night and has really played well over the last 3 or 4 weeks. But Syracuse had a guy like that last night. It wasn't just the inside guys. J.J. Starling was also dynamite last night for Syracuse.
He's a good basketball player, and we cut the lead, and when we cut the lead, we took a couple challenge shots instead of moving the ball around and getting better shots. We took up, and it pisses me off because my problem with the whole deal is that I just thought that they were tougher than us, and we got off to such a bad start because of that part of it. We passed up some shots. We got wide open shots that we just didn't make, and we needed to get punched in them off a little bit before we got active and start playing a little harder.
So there was a sequence in the game that for me is indicative of some of the good and the bad, because State, yes, they dug themselves this giant hole, and they were still, even after like a good start to the second half, where they got it to like 10 or 11, and then all of a sudden it was 15 again. They cut the lead to 8. I think it was 57-49. About 10 minutes left in the game. And then Trey Parker steals the ball, live ball turnover. Just, on the offensive side of half court. And he takes a couple of dribbles, gets to the three-point line on the right wing, and he pulls the trigger on a shot. And my initial thought was, I mean, it wasn't a bad shot, but it's one where, all right, you really need this to go because otherwise at that point, you get a little momentum. Maybe you get a possession. I get taking the shot. It was an open look. And he's a good enough three-point shooter to take it, so I'm not really mad that he took it, but it didn't go. And Syracuse got the offensive rebound and then scored like 6 straight points. And that was kind of indicative of a few things about State. Because Syracuse scored those points in a row, because after that, NC State took about 3 bad shots in a row. Like, you don't need to be taking that shot. And why are we taking it so quickly? I get off the turnover, it's wide open. The other stuff was sort of standing around. And that's where I thought State lost their way. There was the moment that could have been good, which might be big picture, like the entirety of their season. Big picture, that could have been good. And then it completely went the other way. That's your wall of sound. When we come back, the head coach on tonight's game and the current predicament his team is in. Rod Brind'Amour joins us next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keats and State basketball have to do something, and I'll tell you what that is. They have to acknowledge what is happening. This season, it's a failure. That's not to say each individual player isn't working harder. There's no likable people in the program. It's just that after last season, this season, it's not enough. And they have to figure out how to fix it for next season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Time is running out, folks. I need you to go to caniacsbike.com. Dennis Cox here for the Law Tigers. The Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint are all teaming up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Simple to enter. Go to caniacsbike.com. Sign-ups last until April 6th. The bike will be given away on the final home game of the season. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Did you see what Duke is paying the quarterback that they pulled out of the portal from Tulane?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. 2-year deal, $4 million per.
Oh, wow.
Per. So.
Do they want a quarterback named Victoria?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos.
This song is on purpose, and people will know why when the Rod interview's done.
Okay.
Just make a mental note.
There you go. We are going to hear from Rod Brind'Amour here in a second big game tonight, obviously, for the Carolina Hurricanes. Real quick about State and Wake. State's season is basically done. You got to win 3 games to have a chance. They've got 3 games left. They got to win all 3. Otherwise, they ain't going to Charlotte for the ACC tournament. That's the predicament they put themselves in, and that is mind-blowing to me. I thought they would be better. They looked at times like they were better, but maybe I was just wrong. And, well, I'll have to live with that. Wake clearly doesn't want to be in the NCAA tournament. I can't explain it. They've got some good players. Hunter Salas is dynamite. Efton Reed is really good. Cam Hildreth. They've got guys who have been there. They know each other. They should have been better, and they just played poorly again last night. Speaking of playing poorly, Hurricanes have lost 2 in a row coming out of the break. They have lost 5 of 6 because they lost 3, then beat Utah before the break, then have lost 2. My math tells me that's 5 of 6. They are 3-5-1 since acquiring Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall. A lot of that, I thought, was, you know what? This team is just, it's not just them, although, I mean, really not Hall. It's about, because everything's about Mikko Rantanen. It's not just him. It's the collective, I think, trying to do maybe too much to make everything great for Mikko. In other words, changing their game. So it was really cool for me to hear the head coach's comments after the game against Montreal, and that's where we pick up our conversation with Rod Brind'Amour. I was glad to hear you say it after the game, that the team hasn't been playing the way that they're supposed to play, the identity of the team. What have you seen that has kind of gotten to you the most?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think, I definitely like to see us play more around the net, right? Like we're looking for the fancy plays a lot. I think we're trying to score off the rush every time, and it's not there, and that's causing lots of turnovers and then lots of play in our end, more than I'd like to see. So, I think at the end of the day, it's a little bit of everything, but we definitely got to turn things around, obviously.
So, for 6 years, you guys have enjoyed tons of success playing a certain way. Is there an element that, like, where you start, have you thought maybe we should be doing things differently? How have you, keep asking you how guys have processed these things and these changes. How have you handled the evolution of this group?
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. I think you're right. I mean, we've definitely been always looking at how to get that next, phase and get over, that last little hump. But maybe we've kind of lost track of what got us to that hump to begin with. And I think, sometimes that's that's we weren't that far away, and now maybe we're looking at it a little differently. And when I say we, it might I don't think the team is necessarily, but obviously I think we made some moves here that is trying to push us over the hump, and we just got to remember that we got to get to the hump first, if that makes sense, and then use these pieces to push us over. And we can't change, the way we play. We got to add this little element to make us that much better, not change the whole game to try to make us better, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense, and I know everybody is reaching for solutions and reasons why. Now, Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis, because they have essentially grown up with you as either the head coach or, in the case of Aho, you were an assistant before. But you don't know Mikko like you know those other guys. What have you sensed from him in terms of dealing with whatever frustrations and changes he's dealing with?
Well, I mean, you're right. I don't know him that well. It's been a few weeks, but it's what I can relate to is I feel, even though I maybe wasn't that kind of player, I went through the exact same thing. And when I got here 25 years ago, I'd been in somewhere for almost 9 years and a good team and, feeling part of it. And then kind of, wow, all of a sudden the carpet gets kind of ripped out of you and you're like, well, what? And then you're landing in a totally different spot, and there's a lot of things. And then I remember how I played when I first got here, and it wasn't great, and it was because I was trying a little bit too hard. And you just got to go play. It's not all on you. Our sport is not basketball or even football in the sense of which is a great team game, but one guy can really impact the game. A quarterback can really do damage, and hockey, one guy, unless he's maybe the goalie, it's tough to be a total difference maker. So you just got to go play your game and be a part of it, and that's what we're asking him to do, not try to be the hero. And I know he's trying to be, because that's just natural. But that's not going to work if he keeps doing it that way. And that's kind of my message to him: just go and play, and we'll figure out the rest.
In the calendar year 2025, there haven't been a lot of power play goals. I think there's been 3. There've been more shorthanded goals, I think, than power play goals, although we could count maybe the 5-on-4 goal in Toronto, which looked like a power play, even though you didn't have a goalie there. But I thought the second power play in Montreal generated some really good chances. Sebastian had a couple of looks. He had a post. Taylor Hall had a couple of looks. I think a redirect just kind of bounced wide. Do you see progress there? Or are you making any changes?
Yeah, I mean, every game we could say that, really. At the end of the day, we got to score.
Okay.
I think we've had opportunities every game where you go on that, but it also has to look right. Like you said, I feel like, we certainly struggled in some areas. It's not really end zone is the struggle. I think there's some other areas where we're not as efficient right now, so we got to, get the puck in at a better rate, that's for sure. And then, so as there changes, I don't think so much to the personnel. I mean, our top 5 guys got to be out there. I think it's more maybe just where they're at and trying to find the right spots for everyone to maximize what we got out there.
All right, final thing, or final area anyway. Do you like the Whalers gear?
Actually, it's pretty sharp stuff. I mean, I think it's a unique color, and now they keep coming out with newer designs and stuff. So it's a nice little, I guess, change of scenery for a day. So I'm all right with it.
Do you, because it's the 90s now, do you go pleated pants? Do you grow your hair out? Can you do an instant mullet like it was the 90s? Do you do a mustache?
Yeah, no, none of that. That's for sure. But we'll, I guess maybe try to find a green tie or something for tonight.
All right. What about a 90s mixtape as you're driving to the game later?
Well, I don't mind that. 80s, 90s, I'm good with. That music's all good.
All right.
So yeah, definitely on that.
What are we listening to before the game?
Well, in the 80s, I'm classic rock all the way. So you find me anything there. You can Def Leppard it, you can Bon Jovi it, you can have Rolling Stones it, even go further back. I don't care. All that stuff's good.
All right, we'll do that. I appreciate your time. We'll talk to you later.
All right, Adam.
See, that's where the bump song came from.
So,
love it.
I wasn't a Def Leppard guy.
I love it.
Rod was more metal.
I mean, I'm impressed. Yeah. Hell yeah.
And you're like ridiculous metal, so I can't even.
I'm all over the board.
I
but
can't
yes,
even.
That is my flavor. But yeah, I mean, the one-armed drummer, got to give him some love.
Oh, absolutely.
That's fantastic.
That is spectacular. All right, when we come back, I mentioned this before. I told this when we had Brett Friedlander on. Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com. So the college baseball season is about to hit the 2-week mark. It was Valentine's Day when everything opened up, February 14th. And it's been a good start for North Carolina. It's been a good start for Wake. It has not been a good start for State, for ECU, for Duke. We'll talk about the first couple of weeks and the future of, I guess, local college baseball with Aaron Fitt next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel. Again, America's #1 sports book, because FanDuel's your home for live NBA betting. So even if you miss the start of the game, you're not out of luck. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. New customers get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, make every moment more. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
During the sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
I'm Faith. I work as an American Sign Language interpreter, and I just graduated from my bachelor's program. I texted 988 because at the moment where I needed help, I realized that I didn't have access to English at the moment. Sometimes speaking gets hard for me, and they just helped me calm down, and then I was able to find a friend. It's free, and you can get in touch with people who are trained to help through all sorts of crises.
Call, text, or chat 988
24/7.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Did you see what Duke is paying the quarterback that they pulled out of the portal from Tulane?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. 2-year deal, $4 million per.
Oh, wow.
Per. So.
Do they want a quarterback named Victoria?
The Adam Gold Show.
The college baseball season is about 2 weeks old already, and we are closing the month of February, and I do this every year. Aaron Fitt, editor-in-chief, D1Baseball.com, will help me play catch-up. Sir, at Aaron Fitt on Twitter, great Clubhouse guy. It's my favorite thing on anybody's Twitter bio. Thank you very much for helping me out here because I always play catch-up at the start of the baseball season. So I know 4 ACC teams, or the Triangle, the state of North Carolina ACC teams, all showed up in the preseason rankings. Carolina's off to a good start. Wake's off to a good start. Not so much for Duke and NC State. But let's start with the, 9-0 Tar Heels or something like that?
Yeah, 9-0. They're rolling right along, and that's, that was the team out of the 4 that we had ranked the highest in the preseason. I think they were number 6 in our preseason rankings, and so far they certainly looked the part. It's a really exciting team because they've got tons of arms, first of all.
Right.
And, getting Folger Boaz back from injury and Jake Knapp. I mean, those are 2 guys that they were expecting to count on last year in their rotation as their Friday night guys. First Knapp and then Boaz was a Friday night guy, and they both went down, and Carolina still got to Omaha. You throw those guys back into the mix. Knapp has moved back into a weekend starting job, and Boaz is at the back end and looks really like a good fit back there. That's just as it makes this staff even more formidable. And obviously you got Jason DeCaro at the front. So I think pitching is a strength for them, but it's a new look lineup. They're not going to be as explosive offensively as they were last year, but they did a good job retooling it. It's nice to have Hunter Stokely back and performing so far better than ever. And King Kepley coming in from Liberty has been an impact piece for, stepping into the Honeycutt job. I'm not going to say he's trying to replace Honeycutt, but he's a center fielder and he can really play center field. He can really run. Different kind of player. He's more of a speed player, but he has a little bit of sneaky juice too, and they can really control the strike zone. So that is a really big addition for them.
All right, I guess we'll sort of go down the list of who's doing well. Let me just get to Wake real quick because they had an uncharacteristically down year last year. How have they bounced back? I know they were basically in the middle of of everybody's ranking. So, what do you like about the Demon Deacons?
And it's interesting. It's kind of a testament to how far that program has come. I mean, they are still a regional 2 seed last year, and we think you had a down year because they were preseason number 1 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of underachieved, and they had all those 3 top 10 draft picks and all that stuff. But that said, their floor has really raised as a program where that's now a down year, and now they're kind of lying in the weeds a little bit heading into the season. Everyone's like, well, they lost Kurtz and Burns and Seaver King. I mean, how could they possibly be better? Tom Walter insisted in the fall that they are better despite losing all those guys. And I kind of believe them. We had them ranked in the mid-teens. I was the high man on the Deeks. I was arguing for them to be higher in our rankings above NC State and Duke. I lost that argument, if you can believe it.
Right. You lost an argument. Get out of here.
I know. It's outrageous. But here they come. I mean, it's, again, they've really there were questions they had to answer on the mound. Like, we loved their talent on the mound heading into the year and their depth, but they didn't have the proven weekend starters that they've had. Obviously you're spoiled with Brett Lauder and Chase Burns as your Friday guys. They don't have that, but boy, this Logan Lunsford that they brought in from Missouri has been awesome. He's got real stuff. Matthew Dallas that they brought in from Tennessee. That's a great 1-2 punch. Neither one of them's given up a run yet. and just so many arms behind those guys. The depth and velocity on this staff is staggering. And once again, you've got star power in the order with Merrick Houston now, who's just gotten better and better year after year. He's the best shortstop in the country. His bat has really, really come on. And then Ethan Conrad was another preseason All-American that they brought in from Marist, who just tore up the Cape Cod League this summer. He's been a nice addition. Cade Lewis from Butler is tearing the cover off the ball. So they've done a really good job retooling the offense as well, and I think it's a pretty complete team.
Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com editor-in-chief, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, I'm just combining the question because it's the same for both, and then we can go through team by team, and you choose which to go first. What hasn't clicked yet for State and Duke?
Boy, this one's baffling. I mean, these teams, it's shocking to see them both, at the bottom of the ACC table here.
Yeah.
I think Duke's 4-5 now, NC State's 3-5, and there's some bad losses in there for Duke in particular. But it's just, I think for Duke, their pitching in particular has not clicked yet. I mean, they've fallen behind early in a number of games, and then they've actually stormed back and made those games competitive in most cases. Not last night against Liberty, where they just got blown out. But I don't know why their pitching has struggled the way it has. There's a lot of talent there. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of experience, and they're just not getting it done. And so, it's one of those things where right now, and probably this applies to Duke and NC State. Right now, they stink. They just stink. But it's February,
right?
And they won't stink all season. And any time in the past with these two programs, especially, I feel like I have written them off and just left them for dead midway through the season. Without, inevitably they get hot. They make a serious run. They go to the postseason. Maybe they go to a super regional. I mean, we've seen that repeatedly from both these programs.
Yeah.
And Duke in particular, I can think of twice where I've just totally written them off. They were like, what were they, 3-12 in the ACC one year or some crazy thing, and then they came back and made a regional. I mean, you can't write them off. They're too well coached, and there's too much talent here. But I think in NC State's case, Adam, there's that lineup is going to have some growing up to do. I mean, it's just they lost so much from last year's team, and it's just going to take some time. I don't think they're going to be as offensive as most NC State teams are. And it's one thing about NC State is they always hit. This one I'm not so sold on. So I'm maybe a little bit more concerned about the Wolfpack long term, even though I do still believe in their pitching, and I think they'll be a postseason team because I think their pitching will be a lot better as the season goes on. There is a lot of talent on the mound, but right now it's not really shined through.
Aaron Fitt, D1Baseball.com. Let me just broaden the discussion real quick because East Carolina is obviously very good. So a couple of thoughts on the Pirates at the first couple of weeks of the season and what your long-term view is of them.
Yeah, another team that lost a ton from last year, and in their case, they hit the portal like everybody hits the portal, but they brought in a lot of freshmen, and it's one of the best freshman classes in the country. But there's going to be some growing pains with true freshmen, especially with as old as college baseball is these days, with the portal.
True.
And I think that offense in particular is going to take some time, like NC State's, but this offense is even younger than NC State's. They're really leaning on some young guys. And, right now, it seems like East Carolina is vulnerable, which is not something we've said for a long time. But I still think that they've got ability on both sides, but even on the mound, there's not nearly as much proven commodities as they've had in the past. And so they just got swept by North Carolina. They're sitting 3-5 overall. I mean, it's in that same kind of category as Duke and NC State right now, except I think there's more experienced talent that you can probably rely on at Duke and NC State that will eventually help them turn it around. I'm not as sure East Carolina is going to turn it around and live up to their usual standard, which is that they win their league every year. You still got to give the benefit of the doubt. They're the Pirates. They're still the favorite in the American until somebody knocks them off. But I think it's going to be a lot harder this year.
All right, best player at another D1 school in the state of North Carolina that doesn't go to the five we talked about.
Tanner Thatch, UNC Wilmington. Big old donkey first baseman. He can also pitch, left-handed pitcher as well, but he's got serious juice. I think he was a second or third team preseason All-American for us. He's really good, and a lot of fun to watch.
And big old donkey first baseman. Put that on a coffee mug. All right, final thing, real quick. What is the House settlement impact going to be on college baseball? I know roster sizes are going to get, or scholarship allotment is going to get bigger. I know that. So tell me about what the House impact on baseball is going to be.
Yeah, it'll have a very big impact, and certainly the scholarship thing is the biggest because, as you know, we've been stuck at 11.7 scholarships in baseball for, 30 plus years now. It's been a long time. And that's been the number one thing that coaches have always wanted. It was, we need more scholarships. And now all of a sudden it seems like teams are going to have the ability to give, if you got 35 guys on your roster, you want to give 35 full rides, you can.
Jeez.
And I mean, Arizona State has already announced that they're planning to do that. Right, the 34 maybe is the new roster cap. I can't remember. They're adjusting it, but they're planning to give all full rides. And that kind of made a statement because they're not in the SEC or the ACC, but they're committing to baseball. I think you'll see that all over the SEC. All those teams are going to go all in.
Yeah.
I would think so. I mean, the other thing is it varies from conference to conference. I mean, I think some leagues are just restricting the amount of scholarships that their members can give out per sport. Like I heard, maybe the Big Ten is not going to approach it the same way, even though they have all the money in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to go all in on baseball the way some of these other ones are, which will be interesting because now you've got some really good baseball programs in that league that were in the Pac-12 before, like Oregon and UCLA. You can be sure that those programs are going to want to go all in on baseball, and that might be held back by their new conference affiliation. But anyway, it's going to create more of a chasm between the programs that are really, really committed and those that just don't or can't spend the money to keep up. And so, I think we've seen less parity recently because of NLI and NIL and the portal and all that stuff. And we've seen the SEC separate itself year over year, and the ACC has kind of come along. And it's those two leagues and then everybody else. I think that chasm's only going to continue to widen as we move forward.
Aaron Fitt, great clubhouse guy, at Aaron Fitt on Twitter, d1baseball.com. It's the number one. It's a D, then the number one, baseball.com. Very sneaky. Appreciate your time, my man. We'll talk again very soon. You will get me up to speed again. I know that's how we do it.
Love it, Adam. Always good to talk to you.
It's Aaron Fitt from d1baseball.com. Been a great start for UNC, great start for Wake, not so good for State, Duke, and ECU. The big donkey first. I'm sorry.
That got me when he said that.
Hysterical.
He said donkey
Absolutely
first baseman. Never heard of that.
Yeah. By the way, somebody pointed out on Twitter the downside to the scholarship allotment. And it's not about the scholarships. It's about they've capped rosters. So most college baseball rosters were closer to 40 deep. And with the scholarship increase, they've capped rosters. So it does eliminate spots. We're actually finding this across all sports, not just baseball. Because I read and I didn't read in depth about it, but I do know this to be the case. What they're doing, they are offering more scholarships across the board, athletic scholarships, which in and of itself is good. But they are also eliminating roster spots across sports to the tune of as much as almost 100. Some of this is coming in the form of eliminating walk-ons in football, which, again, there's a downside to that, too. More scholarships, yay. Less opportunity, not yay. We shouldn't have limits on that. On walk-ons, we should not have limits on that. Hey, if people want to pay their own way and do all of these things and be part of a team, if they're worthy of being part of the team, I'm not a big fan of eliminating their opportunity to do that. Not. I'm also, even though I definitely I like the fact that athletes can go to school on the university's dime. I'm not going to call it free for free because it's not. There is an element of this increased scholarship number that is going to work in the advantage of the wealthier schools. Just natural. because there is a sense of having to keep up. But I guess there's already that sense of having to keep up. But that's so there's good and bad with what's coming down the pike with House, and it's supposed to be agreed to. We still don't have the full look at it yet, and we won't probably until hopefully April, May, when we see exactly what it's going to look like. Know this, I have for years been in favor of athletes realizing their value. That began with what the market would allow. That's true name, image, and likeness, not pay for play. But I really wish we would just go full on into, yep, the athletes are employees. Now let's collectively bargain and protect everybody. The biggest misnomer is that the unionization, if you will, of college athletics, of college athletes, is only good for them. No, it's not. It's good for both sides of this debate, if you will. Because the schools have been demanding protection. Really what they're demanding is certainty. We need to know what we're working with all the time. Well, if you give this, you'll get that. They don't want to give this. They want all of the certainty without the protections for the athletes, and it's not supposed to work that way. But, of course, we are becoming incredibly anti-organized labor. Even though that's how the country was built. Never mind. All right, it's time for a rewind. Erik Cole joined us, a Stanley Cup champion, a Hurricanes legend, and a man who has been traded a few times. Middle of the season, a couple of times. Also, in some ways, unexpectedly. And that is what Mikko Rantanen is dealing with. And I asked Erik what his thoughts were on that element of the Mikko Rantanen equation.
Well, I did experience an in-season trade that was, it kind of came out of the blue. I did get a little bit of a fair warning about it from a former teammate in Ray Whitney, but when I got traded to Dallas from Montreal, it was we had come out of the lockout, and it was the shortened season. We went to 50-50 with the owners,
right?
So the cap was coming down, all this stuff, and so when I got traded to Dallas, like Ray was like, come, like it's, great city, all this. And, I think it was when I think I got asked 2 days later by our GM, Mark Bergevin at the time, to say, like, hey, are you willing to waive your no trade to go to Dallas? Because they weren't on my list. I had some control over where I went. And, I debated it for a bit and everything, but if you look back at that season, and I was there, got to make a few trips back to Montreal, so I obviously went there by myself. And, at first I'm living in a hotel, then you're, living in an apartment. And if you've got kids, you don't want to uproot them in, February. So it was difficult, and I did struggle. But even I can remember getting traded to Edmonton, and that happened in the off season. Mm-hmm. But it's still a big adjustment to go from having played all of your games with one organization to another, right? And just everything feels different. Everything seems different. In actuality, it really isn't. But it just, you're just really shaken away from your comfort zone. Another example is my second full season, the start of my second, quote unquote full season in Dallas, they signed Jason Spezza from Ottawa and Alish Hemsky, who also was a trade deadline from Edmonton to Ottawa, but two guys that had spent their entire careers in either Ottawa or Hemmer, for instance, was, in Edmonton for the longest time. And they came to Dallas and we got matched up together on a line, and those two struggled mightily in the first month and a half. I did the same when I went to Edmonton. I struggled early on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a different feel. But when you spend so much time in one city with one organization, and with, he was part of the core.
Yeah.
So that's, that's he and a group of players playing together for a number of years with, some moving parts coming in and out here and there over the years. It is difficult. So I do have, some empathy for him in terms of the adjustment. And then on top of that, it's, the minutes aren't the same. Situations that you're playing in aren't exactly the same.
Right.
There's a lot to take in with it. So there does need to be a grace period, I think, on a bunch of levels. But with that being said, time is of the essence a little bit. And the team just needs to, they need to have honest conversations with the player and with his agent, and hey, do you think that this is going to be a good fit for you? You'll adjust to it, or if not, what can we do? How can we make things better?
So I was going back to Erik Cole. I was going back and forth with Greg Wyshynski, and we'll want to have time for one more from Erik here. But I was going back and forth with Greg Wyshynski. We were texting back and forth earlier today about what the Canes might do. And he brought up a good point about, Eric Tulsky, first-year GM, even though he's not the normal first-year GM. He's been a serious part of the decision-making process here for several years. So he's not like a newbie. But, the trade for Rantanen is a big swing. And even if you don't sign him after the season, and there are no guarantees, even if you don't sign him after the season, moving him on for less than what you acquired him for, and also not necessarily competing for a Stanley Cup, it's an awful thing to have on year one. So he said, you're better off riding it out. And you may be. But remember, I believe, had the organization thought about it, and how I thought about it, was that this was not a play for this year. It was, but it wasn't. This was a play for going forward. With Rantanen going forward. They didn't acquire Mikko Rantanen with any other thought but he is here for the next 8 years. That's why they acquired him. They would not have done this to rent Mikko Rantanen for a year. That was not their intention. So I never looked at it as a rental. So I think they're looking at it as a bigger picture thing. And if you do that, you then have to think about, all right, what does my roster look like going forward? And we talked about this yesterday. I've talked about it a lot. There are elements of this team that they might not be able to win with Rantanen, even if he plays well, even if the team scores well, because there are areas of this team that might not be fixable this year. Talked about those at length yesterday. But so if you feel like you might not be able to sign him, but you could use Rantanen to achieve some of the other goals in terms of reshaping your roster, in that regard, and I'm not sure you can, but in that regard, they should basically explore moving him on if it's not working out. But ultimately, what I think will happen is nothing will happen. And this team is this team going into the last 6 weeks of the regular season, and they'll just roll the dice and see where it ends. And if the defense self-corrects, if the goaltending improves, if the power play gets better, if Rantanen plays well and Aho joins them and all of that, and all of these things happen, if they get back to doing what they're accustomed to doing, winning, playing the right way, take your chances with the team that they're going to put on the ice tonight. And once again, I encourage people to go check out the Players Tribune piece penned by Sebastian Aho because, I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, and it's entitled To Canes Fans. He cares. It's one of my favorite things about that guy.
Yeah, he does. He's awesome.
He really does care, and he is here to work hard. Let's watch him do that tonight against the Sabres. It's Whalers night. Starship. Victoria, thank you. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and there is no better place to enjoy the NBA than FanDuel. It's your home for live betting. Maybe that's the way to deal with the Charlotte Hornets and the fact that they are basically getting beat by 30 every game. They are only 9.5-point underdogs in Dallas. It seems like a trick